You pray that Allah will grant you a pious, gentle, loyal wife. But do you really know what she expects from you once she's here? What a Muslim wife deeply desires, beyond words, beyond appearances. It's not just a roof over your head, nor a simple status as a wife. It's something much deeper, much more sacred. In this video, you will discover what your wife really wants from you, not according to society, not according to cliches, but according to Allah's principles. And if you're already married or on the path to marriage, this message could well transform your relationship and your destiny. 1. Respect. The silent essence of love. Do you really want to know what your wife expects from you? Then don't look for the answer in what people say. Look for it in what your silence conveys to her. Because there is a form of respect that cannot be spoken, but rather felt. Respect is not diplomacy. It is not about appearances. It is an inner light that says, I recognize you. I value you. I do not dominate you. I honor you. When a woman feels respected, she opens up. When she feels ignored, she closes off. And that's where many men fail. They want love without building the space where that love can exist safely. Respect begins with the gaze. Not a hurried gaze, not a judgmental gaze, but a gaze that says, I see you. She wants to be seen, not just looked at. Seen in her efforts, in her fatigue, in her silence, in her sacrifices that no one notices except the one who knows the invisible. This respect is manifest in your voice, that tone you choose even when you're upset. Because what you say in a moment of anger can leave a mark no caress can erase. She expects you to understand that she is not your adversary in this home. She is your mirror, your support, your responsibility. She wants you to treat her like an amana, a precious trust entrusted to you by the one who observes all. She wants you to respect her time. When she's tired, don't ask her to outdo herself to prove her worth. When she's silent, don't accuse her of indifference. When she doubts, don't trample her with proud certainties. She wants you to respect her word, even if you don't agree. She wants her to be able to express herself without fear of being ridiculed. Let her feel that her voice matters, even when you don't agree with everything she says. She wants you to respect her heart. And respecting a woman's heart isn't idealizing it. It's protecting it even from yourself. How many men say, I love her, but destroy her essence with their words, their forgetfulness, their indifference? That's not love. It's disguised attachment. Respect is when you pay attention even to what you don't yet understand. When you choose patience over sarcasm. When you prefer humility to control. Because deep down, what she's looking for isn't a perfect man. He's a sincere man, present, and humble enough to say, I'm not always fair, but I will always make the effort to treat you with nobility. She wants you to make her feel that love isn't a burden, but a peace. 2. Listening. The language of the heart, imagine. She comes home after a long day. She doesn't say much at first. You barely notice. Then she moves closer, sits down, and begins to speak softly. But your mind is elsewhere, on your phone, your work, your worries. You nod, you hear her, but you don't listen. And she senses it. Because a woman isn't just looking for a man who hears words. She's looking for a heart that receives her heart. Listening isn't a reflex. It's an act of presence. And in truth, what she hopes for is for you to be there, truly there. Not to fix things, not to react, but to feel. She doesn't want your intelligence. She wants your compassion. She doesn't always want an answer. She wants a refuge. You know, there are pains that don't seek a cure. They just seek a witness, a look that understands, an ear that doesn't judge.
And often, what your wife is waiting for is exactly that. A loving silence that speaks louder than 1,000 words. When she tells you something that touches her, she's sharing a piece of herself with you. Not so you can compare or correct, but so you can welcome it. Listening is the moment when you say to yourself, what she's going through is important to me, because she is important to me. And in that moment, you pause to honor her, not to win an argument, but to strengthen a bond, because she's not looking for a man who speaks loudly, but one who knows how to silence the world so she can hear her. You'll notice one thing. When she feels listened to, she becomes gentle. Her tone changes. Her gaze softens. Her body relaxes. It's as if, through your listening, she regains confidence. And you know why? Because she feels she's no longer alone in her emotions. When you listen to her with your heart, you don't just soothe her words. You heal something inside her. And don't think it's a waste of time, because it's in moments like these that you build a love that can't be bought. A love rooted in sincere attention. Do you want to know how to listen to her? Turn off the noise. Cut off the distractions. Look into her eyes. Let your heart become a space where she can unload her pain without fear. She wants to know that even if the world doesn't listen to her, you will. And when she feels that, she'll love you in a way you won't even have the words to describe.
3. Emotional security. The shelter she's waiting for. She never asked for you to be perfect, but she prays for you to be stable. Not the man of grand speeches, but the one whose heart doesn't sway in the slightest wind. Because in her vision of marriage, there is one thing she hopes for more than anything: inner peace. And this peace begins where your character becomes a shelter she can enter without fear of being hurt, judged, or ignored. In Islam, home is called sakan, not just a house, a place where the soul rests, where the storms of life are extinguished in the warmth of a look, a kind word, a steady attitude. She wants you to be that sakan, not just the roof over her head, but the calm behind her emotions. She doesn't ask for the physically strongest man. She expects the man who can contain a storm without becoming chaos himself. One who doesn't lash out when upset. One who doesn't use silence as punishment. One who knows that love doesn't live in fear, but in consistency. Emotional security is when she knows her tears won't be minimized. That she can break down without being seen as weak. That she can laugh out loud without being called immature. That she can doubt, confide, be vulnerable, and be welcomed, not corrected. She wants to be able to be herself without negotiation. Not a polished version to please you, but whole, real, human. And that despite her flaws, you stay, not out of duty, but out of loyalty. Do you want to know what a real man does? He protects, not just from external dangers, but also from his own excesses, his anger, his harshness, his sharp words. She expects a man who fights for her, not by shouting loudly in the streets, but by fighting internally against his own impulses so as not to hurt her. True virility is knowing she's a sensitive woman, and making this sensitivity a priority, not a weakness. She wants to feel that next to you, she can breathe, without a mask, without restraint, without fear. Do you want her to love you with a sincere and deep love? Then become that emotional security, not with grand promises, but with small daily victories. Being calm when you could get angry, listening to her when you'd rather run away, reassuring her when she doubts. Defend her even against your own clumsiness. That's when you'll become what she's been waiting for, a refuge. A man who reminds her that despite everything, she's never alone. 4. Daily effort. Love in action. Love isn't what you say on the day of the nikah. It's what you do afterward, every day, even on ordinary days, especially on days when nothing compels you to do anything except a sincere intention. Love is getting up and saying, "Today again, I will deserve her presence." Not with grand promises, but with a smile in the morning, a hand that helps without waiting, a look that says, "I see your fatigue, and I am here." She's not looking for the man who loved her once. She's looking for the one who loves her every day, not in words, but in gestures, not in memories, but in consistency. Do you want her to feel that she matters? So don't let her carry the burden of the home alone. Don't be that man who prays at the mosque but whose house weeps in silence. Be the one who understands that effort is also worship, that serving with love is an act of nobility. When you help her, it's not because she can't. It's because she shouldn't have to carry everything alone. Love doesn't wear out when you give. It grows stronger, like a muscle, like faith, like prayers repeated day after day. She wants to know that you don't take your marriage for granted, that it is always an active choice, not a passive achievement. Every gesture is a reminder, a flower watered, a bond strengthened, a heart reassured, preparing her favorite dish, sending her a message for no reason, paying attention to the details she thinks are invisible. That's love. You see, there are men who want grateful women, but they forget to sow what deserves gratitude. Love isn't a debt she owes you. It's a wealth you build with her. She wants to feel that even when routine sets in, your effort remains alive, that you still choose to honor her, even when no one is watching. Because that's where the beauty of marriage lies, in the sincerity that repeats itself tirelessly. The daily effort is your silent declaration, "I love you enough to start over every day." And that love, she'll never forget it. Because it's not the love of fairy tales. It's the one for men who understand that behind every smile from their wife, there's a heart waiting to be seen, held, loved. Again. 5. A spiritual connection, growing together toward Allah. There comes a time when earthly love is no longer enough, a time when a woman no longer seeks a husband just for the sake of the dunya, but a soulmate, an ally for eternity. What she truly desires is not a man who ties her to this world, but a man who elevates her to that which is above all, toward Allah. She wants to feel that her faith is safe by your side, that you are not just a physical presence, but a spiritual light, someone who inspires her to remember her ultimate goal, to be a beloved servant of Allah. It is not in beautiful words that she seeks faith, but in your simple gestures, when you gently wake her to pray, when you make dua for her without telling her, when you refuse to do what is forbidden, even in secret, for fear of displeasing your Lord. That's when she feels you are truly a man who guides not by authority but by light. A woman wants your love for her to be an extension of your love for Allah, not a fleeting passion, but a bond rooted in sincerity and piety. She wants you to be her spiritual mirror, someone who doesn't just walk by her side, but helps her climb the slopes of Sabr, cross the valleys of doubt, and reach the peaks of tranquility. A Muslim couple is not two people who love each other only for the pleasure of the moment. They are two hearts beating to the rhythm of dhikr, remembering life after death, and moving forward each day, hand in hand toward Allah's contentment. She wants your faith to be contagious, so that she can say to herself, "When I'm by her side, I feel closer to my Creator." And you, if you want her to follow you, don't push her. Turn toward Allah with sincerity, and she will follow you naturally, not because you imposed your path on her, but because she will see in you a beacon, a landmark, a spiritual refuge. It's not enough to love her for the dunya. You must also love her for the akhirah. Love her soul. Love her path to Jannah, and make sure that your presence brings her closer to this destination. Because ultimately, what she hopes for is not only to grow old by your side, but to find herself with you again, one day, under the shadow of the throne. Your wife is not just your obligation. She is your test, your blessing, and perhaps even your gateway to paradise. What you choose to do with her heart, her peace, her trust, will be recorded in your ledger. Don't be the man who realizes too late what he has lost. If this video spoke to you, share it with a brother, a future husband, a husband who wants to do better. Love in Islam is a journey, not a moment. And that journey begins today with an intention and an action.